In recent decades, thousands of people who were declared clinically dead for short periods and later revived have described extraordinary experiences. Some report moving through a tunnel toward a bright light. Others describe overwhelming peace, meeting deceased relatives, or witnessing a panoramic review of their lives. These accounts are known as near-death experiences, or NDEs. The body's final journey. The final moments. Imagine holding your breath for as long as you possibly can. At first, it's uncomfortable. Then your chest begins to tighten. Every instinct in your body screams for just one thing: a single breath. One of the most common questions people ask is, does dying feel like suffocating? The answer is sometimes, but not always. The moment a person dies, oxygen is no longer delivered throughout the body. Within seconds, consciousness fades as the brain is deprived of oxygen. The heart stops beating, blood circulation ends, and breathing comes to a complete halt. As oxygen levels continue to fall, confusion sets in. Vision begins to fade. Hearing may become muffled, and brain's biological consciousness is gradually lost. Brain cells begin to die within minutes due to lack of oxygen. Heart stops pumping blood permanently. Lungs, breathing ceases and oxygen exchange ends. Kidneys and liver gradually stop functioning as metabolism shuts down. Digestive system, digestion ends, but the bacteria living inside the intestines remain active. After unconsciousness, the person no longer experiences the sensation of suffocation. In many other causes of death, such as cardiac arrest, severe brain injury, or when patients are receiving palliative care, the experience can be quite different. Some people lose consciousness rapidly, while others become increasingly drowsy before becoming unresponsive. And then, silence. The heart has stopped. The lungs no longer draw breath. The brain no longer produces conscious awareness. But surprisingly, the body has not completely stopped. Death is not a single moment. It is a process. Some cells survive for hours, while the microscopic organisms that lived with you throughout your life begin a completely new role, returning the body to nature. Every person's final moments are unique. Without oxygen and blood circulation, the body's cells slowly begin to break down. Body temperature begins to fall. Muscles stiffen, rigor mortis. Later, the muscles relax again. The skin gradually loses its color and elasticity. Over days and weeks, bacteria naturally present inside the body begin breaking down tissues. Insects such as flies may lay eggs on exposed remains if the body is accessible, and maggots help decompose soft tissue as part of nature's recycling process. Microorganisms, insects, and eventually soil organisms return the body's elements to the environment. The body that once carried our memories, ambitions, and dreams slowly becomes part of nature again. For decades, scientists, doctors, and researchers have been investigating experiences that challenge our understanding of consciousness. One of the most fascinating is the near-death experience, or NDE. People who were declared clinically dead for a short time, and later revived, have reported remarkably similar experiences. Some describe leaving their bodies and watching doctors work on them from above. Others speak of moving through a tunnel toward an intense light, feeling overwhelming peace, meeting deceased loved ones, or witnessing a vivid review of their entire lives. Are these simply the brain's final moments under extreme stress? Or could they reveal something more? Then there are out-of-body experiences, or OBEs. People report perceiving the world from a point outside their physical bodies, sometimes during trauma, deep meditation, sleep, or even spontaneously. Scientists have discovered that stimulating a region of the brain called the temporoparietal junction can sometimes trigger sensations similar to an out-of-body experience. But does that mean every OBE is created by the brain? Or has the brain simply revealed a mechanism we don't yet fully understand? Many spiritual traditions also describe astral projection, the belief that consciousness can temporarily separate from the physical body and travel beyond ordinary perception. Some practitioners claim to visit distant places or encounter non-physical realms, while skeptics argue these experiences can be explained by vivid dreaming, imagination, or altered states of consciousness. At the center of all these mysteries lies an even bigger question. What is consciousness? Is it nothing more than electrical activity produced by billions of neurons? Or is the brain less like a generator and more like a receiver, filtering a deeper consciousness that science has yet to explain? Neuroscience has made extraordinary progress in understanding the brain. But despite decades of research, no one can fully explain why conscious experience exists at all. And perhaps that is the greatest mystery of them all. Not what happens after death, but what consciousness truly is. Science can describe what happens to the body. It can explain how cells die, how organs stop, how the body returns to the earth. But one question still remains. What happens to consciousness? Is death truly the end, or only the beginning of another journey? For thousands of years, this question has inspired sages, philosophers, and mystics across civilizations. The Upanishads teach that the body dies, but the Atman, the true self, the soul continues. The Bhagavad Gita compares death to changing old clothes for new ones. Buddhism speaks of rebirth, but without a permanent, unchanging soul. Jainism teaches that the soul travels according to karma until it becomes liberated. The ancient Egyptians believed the heart would be weighed after death. Plato believed the soul existed before birth and continued after the body. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes an intermediate state between death and rebirth. And today, people who survive near-death experiences often describe bright light, peace, or a life review. Science has not proven what lies beyond death. But across cultures and centuries, humanity has continued asking the same question. Is death the end, or only another beginning? Can we die before biological death? It sounds impossible, but in many ancient spiritual traditions, the answer is yes. Not the death of the body, but the death of the ego. The Upanishads, Buddhism, and many yogic traditions teach that our greatest fear isn't physical death. It's losing the identity we've spent our lives building, our name, memories, desires, and sense of I. Enlightenment is said to be the moment this false identity dissolves while the body is still alive. In yoga, some traditions call the final conscious departure of a fully liberated sage Samadhi, the great absorption, where it is believed the realized master leaves the body in complete awareness. Whether taken literally or symbolically, the message is profound. If the ego dies before the body, then perhaps death itself loses its power. Maybe the greatest spiritual journey isn't learning how to die. It's discovering what remains when the one who fears death disappears.